Good morning. Good morning, friends. Good morning, families. Welcome to my Sunday morning chat, conscious eating, conscious living, alchemical chat. And it is February the 19th, I believe, Sunday morning. And we're here just to talk about different things. And today's chat is something that came across as I was walking with my friends yesterday. We were doing a 13-kilometer walk, and one of the walkers said to me, "Do you know what the European Union has passed in terms of food production?" And I go, "No." And so that is our topic of today. And it's about crickets. And some of you may already know about eating crickets and mealworms. And I know many people around the world do. So I was quite actually shocked. I'm not a bug eater, and that's my choice. And anyway, so just what we're going to be talking about today, crickets and mealworms. And so uh, I did some research. I thought, is this true? And yes, it is. As of January 23rd, the EU approved cricket powder with a mealworm powder as well, with 8 more varieties on the wait list for approval. So here we go. Let's just dive into the cricket realm. And the names of these crickets, and in the European Union, because it's a sort of a novel food, it must be labeled on the food package. So whenever you're having it, and I suppose if you're going out to eat at a restaurant, you will also want to know. And I don't know how you list food additives when you go to a restaurant, but just be informed, be aware. So the larva form of the Alphytobius diaperonois, lesser mealworm for human consumption, and the green light also to have a partially defatted powder of Acheta domesticus, which is the house cricket, sold on the market as novel food. And so the little maggot-like larva of lesser mealworms, which is a type of um, grows into a shiny black beetle, and house crickets in powder, frozen, paste, and dried forms. The crickets can be sold as partially defatted powder. Now, for those not interested in consuming bugs, the cricket and the mealworm powder, it must be included on the ingredient list. And one of the reasons for that is the issue of allergies. And for people who are allergic to shellfish or dust mites, could also have an allergic reaction when eating insects. So just be aware of what your allergies are. And another problem may be the potential pathogens that the insects might carry. So more research, I think, will be needed for this. This insect powder can go into such products as nuts, snacks, pizza, pasta products, bread, rolls, crackers, sauces, meat preparations, soups, cereal bars, vegetable-based dishes, and chocolate confectionery. Who would have thought? Now, why crickets? Most of the planet heating pollution from food, which accounts for about 1/4 of global warming, comes from meat and dairy. Cows and sheep belch methane, a strong but short lived greenhouse gas, and farmers raise or clear forests to make pastures to grow soy and corn and other grains. 3/4 of that, which is fed to livestock. Are crickets and mealworms a potential solution for a future protein source? Could they also be an alternative food source for the animals we consume? However, one argument states that this defeats the purpose of reducing the steps for food production, especially if the cricket food comes from soy and corn. What is entomophagy? Entomophagy. It's the practice of eating insects and has been around for thousands of years. And it's even mentioned in the Bible. It is estimated that there are 2 billion people worldwide who consume insects. And what are the benefits? Well, they need less land, less feed, and less water than traditional livestock farms. Insect production facilities are deemed more sustainable. And I think long term studies and research will see if this indeed plays out for the future. At the moment, we've got smaller scale production going into these cricket farms. And as they increase in numbers, what does that do for the food that we feed these little critters? A life cycle assessment published in 2021 found that protein from yellow mealworms uses 70% less land and pumps 23% less greenhouse gas into the atmosphere than getting the same amount of protein from, say, broiler chicken. Another company, Entomo Farms in Peterborough, they've been producing cricket products, flour, etc., for almost 10 years. History. Insects, they've been consumed in many countries around the world, over 2 billion people. When my husband and I were in Iquitos, Peru, at the mouth of the Amazon, we saw barrels of live larvae. They were, I don't know, 2 or 3 inches long, nice and thick. And in these barrels on sale to the locals. I did not have any myself. Other Asian countries, Mexico to Thailand, these bugs are part of their normal diet. People in Mexico have been consuming crickets, ants, and grasshoppers for thousands of years before other regions caught wind of their environmental and health benefits. So what about the production? Well, we've got, there's a company now in Ontario, the Aspire Food Group, and they hope to produce 13 million kilograms of cricket protein annually. That's a lot. Selling mostly to pet food markets. So that's not so much human consumption, but for pet food. And crickets can produce protein much more efficiently and with a fraction of the amount of food, water, and land than the other traditional sources. And so that's sort of one aspect of the what's behind this cricket farm production. And nutritionally speaking, crickets are a good source of protein, fat, vitamins, minerals, and fiber, and may benefit gut health. I think we're going to need some more research on this one. Crickets are 60% protein by weight. So let's say you eat 100 grams of cricket. So that's 0.22 pounds, which is equal to a half a cup, which is also equal to 3.55 ounces. 60 grams is pure protein. Identical servings of chicken will only yield 31 grams, and dried beef has 43 grams of protein. And, they're claiming that protein is so important to any diet, from the most hardcore bodybuilder to the active mom looking to build and maintain muscle. The protein in crickets also has 9 essential amino acids, making it a perfect alternative protein source. However, I would like to throw in Another perspective on protein, and this comes from Anthony William, medical medium. His take, and he gets a little bit of spiritual guidance from the uh, spirit of compassion. And from what I understand, our need for protein is misunderstood and how it maintains our health. And we've been led to believe that protein is our number one source to our health, muscle building, and more. But back in the 1800s, apparently men would go to the bars and have a drink with a chunk of meat. And the alternative doctors and practitioners at that time knew this was not healthy. Fast forward to the early and the mid 1900s, and the animal proteins were the prime food that we needed. We must have this animal protein. Our brains and bodies, according to Anthony, need glucose from the time we were born as babies. It's glucose that grows our brain, not the fats and proteins. The most bioavailable and assimilable amino acids come from leafy greens. Our healthy bodies need glucose, mineral salts, and comes from lots of veggies like celery and even apples, fruits and other veggies, root veggies like carrots, potatoes, and squashes. And who's getting sicker and sicker? It's actually both the meat eaters and the vegan vegetarians. In part due to the high fat, so vegetarians eat a lot of nuts and the protein. And when they get mixed together, you've got a food combining, which is, it's a topic for another day, and it actually impacts our health in a negative way. So, what do crickets eat? Well, they are omnivores, and this means that a natural cricket diet consists of plants and meat and includes protein, grains, and produce. In the wild, crickets will consume a wide ranging diet, including insect larvae, aphids, flowers, seeds, leaves, fruits, and grasses. And what the common food that the crickets and the mealworms are fed is chicken feed. So I'm going, oh, well, what's chicken feed? Well, it may include wheat, corn, sorghum, barley, or rye, soybean meal, and can also come from lupins or peas, and even from animal byproducts such as bone, feather, and fish meal. And if we are what the animals that we eat, this may be an issue for some people. So, what's the global market net worth? Well, for the edible insect industry, for this year, will be worth over $522 million. So, and it's slowly growing. And with the EU approval of these crickets and mealworms in novel food, um, yeah, it's going to increase. So the nutritional information, well, apparently, according to science, what they've studied, it's a good source of protein, fat, vitamins and minerals, and fiber. Now it's got B12, potassium, calcium, iron, magnesium, selenium, and protein and fatty acids. And so you look at that and think, okay, that's great. So how does the body assimilate that in its powdered form, or for those who throughout Mexico and the other 2 billion people in the world, um, how is all that those nutrients, how are they assimilated, absorbed into your body, and how are they healing foods? Because so many of us are experiencing some dis-ease, some ill health, and where's that coming from? And increasing the protein actually hasn't helped a lot of people. And so we need to go back to the farming, go back to growing some of your own vegetables, some lettuce, kale, um, Swiss chard. Try growing some vegetables, some greens. We've got parsley and cilantro. There's tons. You've got the broccoli rab that you can get at your Asian markets. There's so many different foods. And again, for our healthy gut, we need that diversity of food. We need all kinds of food because each food pulls up different things from the soil and it works with the different microbes in the soil. And what is one vegetable pulling up or a fruit pulling up through the tree and into our hands and into our mouth? What is that particular fruit or vegetable providing us so that we can be these healthy, radiant bodies? That's what we want to be. So I advise you to be a wise, conscious eater, conscious consumer. Read your labels. Read, read, read. Know exactly what you're putting into your body. And you can continue with your experimentation with the different kinds of food, and it's all your choice. I'm choosing to cut out a few foods and just see what improvements I can see in my health. Because you know, my plan is to just live as long as I can in this body and keep it healthy and healing constantly from all the inputs from the environment and our food sources, our water, and what else is there that's kind of playing a little bit of a havoc in our body. And just remember, I've talked about this before, and it's called generally recognized as safe grass or GRAS, and that's where certainly in the States and Canada is probably not far behind in terms of the over 10,000 additives put into our food and especially processed food. And it has not been tested on humans. And so this whole cricket industry and what they are feeding the crickets and how those crickets are assimilated and the bioavailability in our body, we don't have the full story. And like all these new things, these novel foods that are coming along, I would just recommend a bit of caution and be conscious. Be conscious of what you're eating and putting into your body. Is it what your liver and your brain need to detoxify these toxins that are coming at us from the air and the water, the fragrances? That's a whole nother topic of discussion. Get rid of all your scented candles, perfumes, plug-ins. Those are chemicals. And your body has to deal with that. So, on that happy note, let's actually have a couple of our cards this morning. And from our wisdom of the heart, let's see, I don't have brown, but I've got a cream color. This one says, I believe in my ability to create my life. So it's your choice. You have the ability. Trust your gut. Trust your intuition. Trust your knowingness. And play on. And the other one is our Manifest Your Magnificence. And we'll pick another orange one. And it says, I am special. And we are. We are this beautiful spirit in a body, playing out our role on earth. And how can we make a difference for ourselves and each other? It says, the most important person in my life is me. We need to look after ourselves, and perhaps being that role model and looking after ourselves and seeing others, how we are just radiating in that space of love and compassion, kindness. So have a wonderful, wonderful day. For those of you in Australia, have a wonderful Monday afternoon, and just loving blessings to all of you. Come from your heart, your essence heart, and know that things will be well. All is well. And just love who you are right here, right now. Bye for now.